So we've had Rick Glazer come out and claim that the Wilder-Ortiz rematch did about 140,000 pay-per-view buys. Then we had Boxing Scene come out and claim that it did 275,000 pay-per-view buys. And now we've had ESPN come out and say it's done 225,000 pay-per-view buys. So 3 different sources have come out with 3 different figures. What on earth is going on? Now, first of all, I have to set the record straight because there's a lot of people out there, as there usually is, lying through their teeth about these figures. So let me give you some facts right now. None of these figures are official. None of these figures are confirmed. All of these figures, as far as the pay-per-view buys, are just rumors from boxing sources, quote unquote, insiders. So none of them are any more credible than the other from the perspective of an outsider looking in, which is what we all are. So, we have to just hope that Fox, PBC release the figures at some stage, but don't hold your breath because according to Boxing Scene, Fox don't normally release their pay-per-view figures ever. So all we're going to get is just estimates. Now, Dan Rayfield was responding to somebody when he put his figures out, and I'll get to the live gate, by the way, in just a second, because that is a figure we can trust because that information was put out by the New York State Athletic Commission. But Dan Rayfield was responding to somebody talking about the figure he put out, and this individual said, okay, who's lying, Boxing Scene or ESPN? And Dan Rayfield said, nobody's lying. The exact figure won't be known for a while. The real number is probably somewhere between the two, and I usually err on the side of caution with the lower number. Neither number is reported as an exact figure. We do the best we can. All right, so that's what Dan Rayfield said. Now, as far as the live gate, we know that's 4 million. So if we add that 4 million onto this rumored pay-per-view number of 275,000, 275,000 would generate about 21 million, according to Boxing Scene's calculation. So add the 4 million live gate on, and you got 25 million. Now, based on information that's come out in the past about how pay-per-view revenue is divided, the network will take about half of that money, of the 25 mil. And that's based on the calculations that came out and all the information that came out surrounding the Wilder Fury fight. Now, of course, the Wilder Fury fight was probably a more expensive show to put on than Wilder Ortiz, although I can't be certain, actually. Let me not say it's more expensive, but I would imagine it would be a more expensive show. And I remember they said at the time that it was something like 200,000 buys or 250,000 buys was break even. And after that was profit. So anyway, if we say the networks are going to take 50%, that's going to leave 12.5 million for the fighters between Wilder and Ortiz. 12.5 million. Now, it does say that there's international pay-per-view as well, but what country on earth outside the United States was putting this on pay-per-view? It certainly wasn't pay-per-view in the UK, and the UK is one of the strongest boxing markets in the world. So, I mean, where was it pay-per-view outside of the States? What, in Canada? I mean, how many people would have bought it there? Some obscure country somewhere in the third world where they were selling a pay-per-view for like 50 cents or something? I don't know. But I can't imagine international pay-per-view is going to add much more to the 25 million figure that I just talked about. So let's say half of it is taken by the network. You're left with 12.5 million for the fighters. Between the two of them, they're going to split that up. How much are they going to be left with? I mean, it depends on what percentage each guy's on. If Wilder gets the guaranteed 18 mil or whatever they were claiming he was getting, and Luis Ortiz gets his guaranteed 7 mil, the show would have absolutely tanked financially. It will be financially deep in the red if they've actually paid the fighters as much as they claimed they were going to. Now, of course, there was the baseline purses, which the Nevada State Athletic Commission always disclosed to the public. And Wilder's baseline was something like, what was it, 4 million or 3 million, and Ortiz's like 1 or 2 million. But there were articles which came out, I think from ESPN, that said Wilder is, behind the scenes said to actually be guaranteed about 18, 19 million, somewhere around that, and Ortiz 7 million. Again, if those figures are accurate, then there is no way this show made a profit. This show must have made an enormous loss. Because even if this pay-per-view figure is correct, it's only going to generate 21 mil. That's barely enough to pay Wilder alone. What about Ortiz's 7 mil? And then the massive cut that the network is going to take. It doesn't add up, people. Deontay Wilder, instead of being an ignoramus, which is what he is, he should have fought Dillian Whyte. Yeah, even after AJ lost, he's already turned down the zone deal and all that kind of stuff, turned down several offers to fight Anthony Joshua, which he should have taken as well. But that's all water under the bridge. He could have then fought Dillian Whyte instead of a rematch with this old man, Luis Ortiz. Now, why would he, why should he have fought Dillian Whyte? Well, it would have paid him a lot more money. That's a fact. A Dillian Whyte fight would have paid him way more money than a Luis Ortiz fight. Number two, Dillian Whyte is more credible than Luis Ortiz. Dillian Whyte has got a better resume than Luis Ortiz. These are facts. Has Luis Ortiz beat Joseph Parker? Has Luis Ortiz beat Oscar Rivas? Okay, no, he hasn't, has he? So Dillian Whyte would have been a better name for Deontay Wilder to have on his resume. And if you're a true boxing fan, not one of these idiot fanboys, if you're a true boxing fan and you want to see Wilder achieve greatness, well, in order to achieve greatness, you're going to have to take on the best available contenders, not be recycling 40-plus-year-old men who haven't beaten anyone of any note in many, many years. Dillian Whyte is at least 10 years younger than Luis Ortiz. Yeah, or roughly 10 years younger at least. With a better resume. That would have been a sensible way to go for Deontay Wilder, but of course he's not a sensible man. So he's not going to make sensible decisions. It is what it is. And the implications of the show tanking the way that it has. And look, obviously, 275,000 is a lot better number than the number Rick Glazer gave. But again, we don't know if this one is even accurate. Who knows? But let's just entertain the possibility that it is. It obviously will help him more at the negotiating table for the Fury rematch. But he's still not the kind of draw that he believes he is or wants to try and make himself out to be. And he's still not the kind of draw that will be able to justify turning down all the offers he had to fight AJ in the past. Should have taken him. He could have been undisputed already. With all the belts, not no belt getting stripped away because of Usyk or whoever else. No, he could have had all the belts and become undisputed. Bizarrely decided to pass on that opportunity. Strange stuff. And if you're not going to do that, fight a Dillian Whyte, fight a contender who's 10 years younger than the guy you fought, you haven't fought him before. There's bragging rights if you beat him, especially if you do it early. Good resume, all that kind of stuff. What are they doing with Deontay Wilder? They're trying to pull the wool over the public's eyes, and they've successfully done it, actually. I mean, the amount of hype that I've seen surrounding Wilder after the Ortiz fight is quite extraordinary. I mean, this is one of the biggest con jobs I've seen for a while in boxing. Yeah, I'm going to call it a con job. Because it's not like Luis Ortiz is a bad fighter, but he's an old man. He's not like some former world champion. The guy didn't achieve anything great in the amateurs, hasn't achieved anything great in the pros. It was a rematch, which nobody asked for. Wilder loses every round through the first 6, knocks this guy out in the 7th, and people are acting like it's the greatest thing they've ever seen. It's bizarre. This con job has worked so well. In the eyes of many boxing fans anyway, but I ain't fooled. I can see it for what it is. It's some con business. It's a con trick. Tyson Fury will give us a far better idea of where Deontay Wilder actually is in terms of his improvement and in terms of his development and what have you. Because that's a real fight. This Ortiz thing was some joke business from the start. Yes, it was a guy who gave him trouble last time, and it was a guy who was ranked. But again, nobody asked for it. And for two, what does it prove beating Ortiz again? You know? It proves nothing. So I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying Ortiz is a rubbish fighter. That's not what I'm saying. He's a good fighter. But we've seen it before. And he could have fought somebody better for more money. You understand the point I'm making? And he's getting too much credit for beating this guy again. Like, what? How is this as significant as people are making it out to be? Yeah, silly stuff. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if I see any idiot in the comments saying that, oh, you said that he only did 140,000 pay-per-view buys. No, I didn't. Any idiot like that will be blocked for life. In my previous video, I clearly said that Rick Glazer is somebody who doesn't like PBC, so we can't say that he's going to be impartial. These figures that Rick Glazer came out were just estimates, and I don't know whether they're actually true. So don't come back to me and say, oh, you said, no. I'm not saying they're true. I'm just pointing out there the information he's relaying. So I made it very clear in the previous video that I was not saying Rick Glazer's number was accurate. But at the same time, don't run around lying through your teeth, acting like this number is accurate when you don't know whether it is. Because that's what I see a lot of people doing. Yeah. Same with Dan Rayfield's number. We don't know. Let me know how you feel, people. It's happening. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.